everyone, this is Rebecca Jane from Yoga with Rebecca Jane, and we're here for our second beginners class, and we will be doing a humble, the class is a balance class where I'll be teaching you what they call humble flamingo. Most people, if you've ever been to any classes, you won't ever see this. It's rare. It's exciting because I've never actually been taught it. I've never been to a class where they taught it. Quite a simple balance, fun, and for people who are new to yoga, you just do some gentle, I'll show you variations. You might decide there's certain things you're not going to do because this is your very first time. But for those who have been practicing even for a short time, will find this practice pretty easy. Or not easy, but it is somewhat challenging, but it's one of those comfortable, those classes that pretty much anybody can enjoy. Blocks are always helpful in these classes, and feel free to grab a blocks if you have any, something in the future you might decide to use at some point. Okay, the classes here we're concentrating on balance and tummies. So we're actually going to come onto our backs and start now. And all I need you to do is come onto your backs and take a moment with your feet flat on the ground. If you need a nice stretch, if you need to just stretch out your entire body, feel free to do so for a moment. Begin to, let the breath flow evenly through the body, inhaling and exhaling. Important to empty the lungs completely as you exhale. We don't spend enough time, we spend a lot of our days not emptying the lungs completely. We do it about halfway or sometimes 3/4 of the way, but very rarely fully. And it's important that we do. Okay, feet flat on the ground now, knees pointing up. Let's just take our hands on our rib cages and take a few breaths in and feel that expansion of that rib cage. And then exhale, draw the rib cage in. And inhale. So one of the things about balance is that it is important is our strong cores. And we're going to be concentrating on the abdominal part of the core because the core is much larger than just the abdominals. So one more breath in and one more breath out. Yeah, it feels nice. Okay, take your hands behind your head. If you were in the class the day before, or the first of these classes, you'll kind of get an idea of what I'm doing, but I'm going to assume that some people haven't been in the first class. So what I want you to do is take your hands behind your head, interlace them, elbows angling in towards one another. And what you're going to do here, you're going to take a breath in and you're going to lift the head and shoulders off the ground. And then holding the breath, lift your tailbone up. So we're working the deeper transverse abdominis muscles by just lifting the tailbone up. Then exhale, elbows reach towards the ceiling, chin towards chest. Bracing those muscles, getting them nice and tight. And then inhaling, just lower the tailbone down and the upper part of your shoulders. Head stays up. We'll do that one more time, this version of it. Holding the breath, lift the tailbone, squeeze your bottom, feeling those muscles working in your abdominals, and lift the elbows up a little bit higher. Look towards your navel, and then inhale, just the tailbone down and the head down. Actually, bring the head all the way down. You can continue with what we've just done, or this is a step further. Come into a 90-degree angle with your feet. Push through the ball mounds of the feet or flex, whatever's best for you. Now, everyone, lift your elbows up. You can keep your feet on the ground. Holding the breath, lift your tailbone. And then exhale, elbows up towards the ceiling, and exhale the arms straight or keep the knees bent.
That's a little bit more challenging. Inhale back over your hips and then lower your head just enough to keep your head up, but shoulders up to the upper part of your shoulders. We'll do that again with feet down or up. Holding the breath, lift your tailbone. Exhale, elbows reach towards the ceiling. Either keep your knees where they are or add a little extra, straighten the legs. You should be feeling lots of activity in these deep muscles. Inhale back. We're going to do 2 more sets, a little bit faster. Lift your tailbone and then exhale, straighten or keep the knees bent, elbows lift up. You look towards your navel. Whew. This doesn't get easy. Bend one more time. Bend the knees, holding the breath. Lift your tailbone up. Exhaling, either straightening or keeping the knees bent, elbows up towards the ceiling, belly pulls in, and then hug your knees into your chest. So little rocks and rolls. We have a lot of sunlight behind us, so the light is, I'm a little bit darker today to see. Okay, I love sunlight, but sometimes it's hard to teach. Place your feet flat on the ground. Let's just take the arms behind your head and do a few little rocks and rolls with the knees from side to side, loosening up those hips. Okay, then take a breath in, and either with the legs straight on the ground or knees bent, a little bit easier with the knees bent, okay? Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, reach your arms up, and then lift all the way up, maybe support yourself, push yourself up, and float over your straight legs or your bent legs. Take a pause here, breathe in. And then slide your hands behind you, slide your bottom if your knees were bent, and let's breathe in, let's reach your arms up to the sky, let's fold over, forward bend. Take a breath in, and take a breath out. This time take an inhale and slide your hands towards your shins. Keep rolling up. Keep the tummy pulled in. Hollow that tummy and then lift all the way up to the crown of the head, working those abdominal muscles. Now from here, I want you to place your hands next to your hips, slide your bottom towards your heels, just a little bit, this space. And we're going into what they call a boat, but it's a different kind of a boat. You're going to lift your right leg up with your right hand underneath your knee. And then you're going to straighten that right leg or keep it bent. It's up to you. You have to try this. Flex that right foot or point it. It doesn't matter. And then that left leg, I want you to keep that left knee bent. Squeeze it in towards that right knee. This is what the flamingo shape looks like. So the left knee is bent, the right leg is straight. You can either keep your hands under your knees or hold the arms out. And for beginners, you can always place your hands on the ground or place your left foot on the ground, both feet on the ground. Lift up nice and tall, feeling into those tummies working. So there's always options for you to put the feet down. And then let's place the feet back down. Let's cross the ankles. Let's lift up tall. Opening up the heart, hands on the knees, and exhaling, placing the feet back down. We have the other side. Left leg lifts, left hand underneath your left knee. Some of us might stay right here. This is just enough. Some of us might pick that right knee up, squeeze the knee in, and bring that right knee in a little bit closer, lift up tall, come into the bottom. The other option, final option, is to take the arms out to the sides. You should feel lots of activity all along your left leg. I could feel. And then cross your ankles and hands on knees and sit up tall and open up your chest. You will feel your legs after this. Swing around, come onto your hands and knees. Press back into a child's pose. Keep the arms long. Stretch through those fingers. Take a breath in and take a breath out. The exhalation, empty out your lungs. Exhale through the mouth. Get those lungs clear. And then take an inhale, lift back into your tabletop. Wrists are under shoulders, knees are under hips. Curl the toes under, press back to your heels. Some of us will stay here. Some of us will follow me up into my downward dog. So beginners, real newbies who've never done this, stay on your knees and press back or come up here just for a moment. Now, from here, for those in downward dog version, I want you to reach your right leg up to the sky. You can keep your right knee bent or straighten it. Or you can do this on the ground with your hands and knees and just reach your leg back. You don't have to come into a downward dog. Take your right knee, bring it into your nose to knees. So you can do this on your knees too. And I want you to hollow out that belly. Downward dog people, come onto those toes and then step your right foot between your hands. And if you need to help it, take your right hand and help yourself. Lower your left knee down. You could place your knee on a blanket or double up your mat. And let's take your hands on your hips for a moment to square the hips forward. Then reach your arms up and then hook the thumbs. Palms are facing forward. Breathe in, lift up, and then lean back. And go deeper into that lunge by leaning your hips forward. And then take an inhale, lift back up. And I want you to twist to the right with your arms out to the sides. Another option is to take your right hand behind your left thigh, lift your left arm up, and rebend your right leg a little bit more. Go deeper into your lunge and reach your left arm back. Other option is to just keep your hands on your hips. That's especially for new people who just started. And then inhale your arms up and lower the hands to the ground. And I want you to curl the back toes under, step it about a foot closer, maybe a little bit, maybe not as much. You can use your blocks to frame your right foot, but we're folding over our right leg. Not all of us can touch the ground, so you might have your hand on your knee, right knee. You can have it on a table. But we're going to be doing quite a few of these pyramids to prepare our bodies for the humble flamingo. Take an inhale and just bend your knee just slightly, lift yourself up about halfway, and then exhale, fold back over that front leg. Then inhale, lift, and as you inhale, lift, let the tummy relax. As you exhale, draw the tummy in, fold over that right leg. This time, inhale, bend, and then step your left foot forward to the right, next to the right, forward, bend. Front of the mat. Take a pause here, inhaling, either bend the knees or keep the legs straight. See how you feel. Take a few breaths in, and then slide the hands up the shins. Push into the shins, come up. This is called halfway. Exhaling, forward fold, all the way down. Drop your head, peek between your legs, and then inhale. Using those abdominals, lift, 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 all the way up to the sky, hands to heart. Take an inhale, sweep your arms up to the sky, and exhale, forward fold. And then inhaling halfway. And then exhaling, stepping back, downward dog, or that extended child's pose. So you're in your extended child's. And if extended child's doesn't, downward dog, if you want to go further, follow me into your plank. Always you might be in the mood for a plank. Those that want a little extra, this is just for someone who's been doing this for a while. When we chaturanga down, we go down, all the way down, you can lift your right leg up. Some people are going to drop the knees down. Lower down. I know who might want to do that. Inhaling into your cobra, bending the elbows, squeezing the elbows into your sides, breathing in and breathing out. Take an inhale and exhale, slide the hands back. Let's take a pause, just one full breath in your extended child's pose. Keep your arms reaching forward.
And then inhale into your tabletop, curl the toes under, exhaling downward dog or extended child's pose. Now we're on the other side. So on your hands and knees or downward dog. So downward dog, people, lift your left leg up, maybe keep it bent or straighten. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, actually bend your left knee, knee to nose, round up like a cat, pull the belly in, come onto those right toes, keep pulling, 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 and then step your left foot between your hands. Lower that right knee down. Lift up, you're in your lunge, hands on the hips. Some people will stay right here. That's as far as you go. Some are going to lift the arms up and hook the thumbs, breathe in, lift up. And then exhale, lean back. As you lean back and open up your chest, you're leaning forward, you're stretching forward with your knee, using the same word. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, open the arms out to the sides. If you want to keep your hands on your hips, this is just too much for you, then don't worry, then keep your hands on your hips. The other option is to take your left hand behind your right knee, bring your right arm back and stretch towards the back, your back leg, while your left knee pushes forward. A little different type of a twisting, back bendy thing. And then let's come back to center, place the hands on the ground. Blocks can be there available for you. Slide your right leg a little further closer to that left leg so both feet are flat on the ground. Folding over your front leg. So it's just like a forward bend. And then inhaling halfway. So halfway, soften the knee a little bit. And then exhale, fold over that front leg. And then inhale, bend. And then exhale, fold over. One more time, inhale, bend, and exhale, step your right foot forward next to your left, forward bend. Staying down, open the feet, maybe as wide as the mat. Either keeping your hands on blocks, or for some of you, you might be able to do this. Take your left hand, slide it underneath your left foot with the palm facing up to the sole of the foot. Right hand underneath your right foot. If you can't do this, feel free to not do, to keep your hands off the foot or on the ankle. This is called a gorilla. This will stretch out your shoulders, your wrists. And let's take a few breaths in. Drop your head, shake your head no, shake your head yes. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, slide your left hand from underneath the foot, right hand from underneath the foot. Heel toe those feet so they're about hip distance apart, maybe a slightly closer. Bending the knees, take a breath in, and as you breathe out, I want you to roll up, ragdoll roll. Keep rolling up using your tummy muscles, back muscles, to lift yourself to standing. And once you get up, just take your hands behind you as if you have a bowl between your hands and lean back. Keep your chin, your gaze forward, and then take an inhale. Sweep your arms up to the sky and bend your knees in, come into your chair pose. So some of us might leave, the arms will stay up. Beginners or people that are tired or whomever, you can bring your hands down to your heart. Or in front of you, extend forward. Let's just take just a moment here, take a breath in. And as you breathe out, I want you to lift back up. Come into a gentle back bend. And then this time, exhale, rebend your knees. And then to bring your hands to your heart, take a pause here, breathe in. And then I want you to lower the hands to the ground, forward bend. Working our thighs and the backs of our legs. Okay, step your right foot back. And we're coming into a pyramid here, just like we were earlier. And feet are hip distance apart. You can use blocks.
Your fingers can either be forward, but if you can, twist them around so the fingertips point back. Think of a flamingo and how their knees bend the opposite way, I think. And if you can, walk your hands back, further back, behind your left foot. Now, if you've never done this before, this is all new, I would just keep your fingers forward in line with your left foot. Otherwise, I'll show you the actual, this will look like. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to bring your right knee in. Bring your right knee in right next to your left knee with your right knee bent, just like we did on the ground. And you can walk, keep your hands back behind you, you're balancing. The further your hands reach behind you, the more you're going to have to balance. And you can always place that right foot on the ground if that's too much, and then place your right foot down. That's a humble flamingo. Whew. Take a pause here. Let's just switch feet now. Take your right foot and place that in front, and back foot come into that pyramid. So the whole idea is the right leg is straight, and when you think of a flamingo, they'll be standing in the water with one leg resting, which will be the bent leg. So hands next to your feet, or spin them around so the fingertips point backwards behind your feet or next to your right foot. Now bring your left knee in as if you're only standing on one leg. Fold over that right leg and see if perchance you can straighten your right leg. Both knees are squeezing in towards each other. And then place your left leg next to your right. You might say, well, this was pretty easy. It's a little bit of a preparation for eventually doing the more advanced flamingo. And this was just a much simpler version, but quite powerful. Come into a forward bend. Let's take an inhale and sweep your arms up to the sky. Exhale, hands to heart. Let's take a pause at the top of your mat in your Tadasana, which is the mountain pose. And you're going to, what I've found doing this humble flamingo, is that my bottom cheeks have been working overtime. So there's a lot of glute work happening in that position, and arm work. So take a breath in, and then reopen your eyes. Inhale, reach your arms up to the sky. And let's exhale, forward fold. And let's step back, downward dog. Let's just take a downward dog. If you want to follow me, either go into a child's pose or follow me into a plank. We're going to lift the left leg up for those who want to go down, exhale down with the left leg up. Not all of us are going to do this. I know you'll say, well, beginner's class, that's not a beginner's. It's just something to add on for those who might have they're a little bit more fit when it comes to things like that. And then slide the hands next to the chest, press back into your child's pose. And take one deep breath in and out. And then walk yourself up. We're going to do a stretch before we come onto our backs. It's called a straddle. So open the legs wide. And some of us, our wide might be a lot closer. It might only be the width of the mat, the wide end of the mat. Whatever it is for you, let's just take your hands behind your back, lift yourself up, open up your heart, and let's walk our hands forward. You can always take blocks and place your forehead on the blocks, or come down on forearms. And it really depends on your flexibility. So let's take a few breaths here, feeling into the stretch inside, on the inner edges of the legs, so the inners and the back of the legs. Whew. Should feel nice, at least. And then let's walk our hands back up. And let's take the hands underneath our knees and bring our knees together. Give ourselves a hug. And then if your feet are not at the front of your mat, then swing around, swing those legs up to the front. Knees are bent or straight. So as you lower yourself down, straight is a little bit tougher, or make sure the knees are bent. And lower yourself down onto your backs. Taking an opportunity to continue to work those muscles, the abdominal muscles. Reach the arms back, stretch through the feet and the arms. And then exhale, hug your knees into your chest. Bring your forehead to your knees, little rocks and rolls from side to side. Open the arms out to the sides, drop your knees to the left, turn your gaze to the right. This is called a spinal twist. Right shoulder is resting on the ground. And then pick your knees back up, give yourself another hug. And maybe this time forehead squeezes towards your knees, so knee to nose, knee to forehead. And then lower the head down, open the arms out to the sides, drop your knees to the right, turn your gaze to the left. And then one last hug. And then prepare your body for Savasana. Place your left foot to the left corner of the mat, right to the right. Take a pause here in your Savasana for about 2 to 5 minutes. Melting into the mat. A little and often approach, that's what these classes are. So over time, you don't even realize how much stronger you are. It happens without being conscious of it, or you might be. You find you can walk longer. You don't become breathless that easier. All these things have this incremental effect. That's why these classes are I think they have worked for me. And as you continue on, I'm going to come up and seal the practice for today. So balance is an important part of our physical practice, but it's important for us as humans, being able to balance our lives, our families, our work, our leisure. And by learning how to balance on the mat, we're actually dealing with very much the same or similar emotions, such as frustration, exhaustion, anger, maybe. So trying to balance and at the same time focus and be calm, and that's what happens in our lives. And so what the balancing class is all about is about that. Not as much the physical, that's a big part of it, becoming stronger, but becoming more resilient in your life. That
sometimes we can't, we're constantly in a state of balancing and rebalancing, recalibrating, just like the GPS, or the SATAV, as they say in this country. And that's what we're doing. We're constantly recalibrating, but we're doing it calmly and expecting that's what it's going to be. It's never going to be always, it's never going to be perfect. So as I bring my hands in front of my heart to seal this practice for today, and we move on to another day of these balances, learning new balances, learning, and core work is essential. So lots of abdominal work, so that we can not only look toner and feel toner, but we can feel stronger and more resilient. So thank you for being with me. Namaste, everyone. This is Rebecca Jane from Yoga with Rebecca Jane, and I'll see you soon.